A while ago, I made a video showcasing the weird and forgotten atmosphere of Conker's Bad Fur Day, and a lot of you seemed to enjoy it and wanted more. So, take a look at this barn. Does this look like a normal barn to you? No? May I ask what tipped you off? The giant diving board? The big ass bucket connected by pipes leading into an underground water facility of some kind? Or just the strange creatures that live in the area? Whatever the case, there was more weirdness and potential creepiness where that came from. We're gonna be checking out areas that I didn't present last time which give a similar, but also different vibe. However, let's start by examining Barn Boys here a little closer. Okay, so last time we were here, I kinda did you a disservice, since I didn't really explore this area properly to see what was different and what was the same. Well, for the most part anyways. I just kind of wandered around outside and then called it a day.
Hey, buddy.
Shut up. Anyway, let's start out with the inside. Now, as you can probably see, the boss fight from this area left this interior kinda, well, less than good. It's not in the best shape, as you could probably see. Conker and the Haybot did a number on the ground here. If you actually jump down this hole, you do trigger the loading zone, which puts you back down in the flooding area, which I'll show you later. But coming back here is strange, because these paint pots and brush characters behave so strangely here. They don't acknowledge your existence other than when you fucking smack them with the pan. But as long as you don't do that, they just idle there and just blink at you. Which makes this area feel very unfinished and unpolished. It feels like you should not be here. Even though they literally made a completely different state for this point in the game. Another thing that I want to add is because of the lack of music, because we're here during the nighttime, obviously, it creates for an almost eerie atmosphere, especially in addition with the fucking paint pot and brush over there blinking at you like they're soulless or some shit. I genuinely feel like they're gonna murder me in my sleep. I also want to take this moment to just like look at around on the walls and the ceiling of this place, because I've never really done that before. So we got like these lanterns hanging off the corners of the room, not even the corners, just the walls, like the roof of the room. We also got these big wheels. Like, what would these be used for? Like, think about the area and the geography of this place. Like, how would you use those? What is their purpose? I guess maybe like as like a water wheel maybe, but they don't look like that. They look like a wheel you would put on a vehicle of some kind, like a carriage. We also have something you might have noticed. There's daylight coming out of the little hole up there. Which, of course, if you recall, at the beginning of this video, it was nighttime when we entered here. It just adds another layer of unpolishedness to this area. Like, it feels like a beta area that I have access to the debug menu or something. It doesn't feel like a finished part of the game. But I can access it no problem, just from exploring. Another thing that adds to it, like I mentioned earlier, is that this loading zone down here still functions. And will put you down here in the already flooded area of the escape sequence that you have after the boss fight. The entire place is like creaking from like the iron pipes on the walls and probably beneath us as well. I just don't know what this area serves. Like, what's the purpose of this giant underground pump facility? Is it to supply the water tower that's on the top, which we'll be checking out shortly? That's my only idea. Now we're on the other side, where this guy somehow teleporting around all the locations in the game where he needs to be in order to be a platform for you to be launched off. Anyway, let's go into the clear as day sunlight to enter the nighttime. So the first thing I want to kind of point out is how it's so quiet before you climb up this ladder. The only thing you can hear are the crickets, the bee, or I should have said the wasp, and the owl in the background. But then this awkward cut-in happens of wind howling. Now, normally, this wouldn't be off-putting because of the background music that plays in this area. But because of how silent it is during nighttime, it feels way more awkward than it's supposed to. Especially because as you climb up this little ladder area right here, you get stung by a wasp. No, that's not what I wanted to talk about. The music that supposedly or usually plays here would be slowly fading out as we climb up higher and higher, to give the sense that you're leaving the level behind almost, that you're so entirely high up that the music can't even follow you up. And that just makes this entire section feel weird. Everything about it feels off. The cut-in, the lack of fade out, and then we can obviously do this. I say obviously, but I've completely failed. A footnote I just want to add as we climb up is how the wind under the context of nighttime adds this impression of coldness. Like if I was here in real life, I would be freezing my ass off. Now it was kind of good that I died, because there was another thing that I want to mention, and it's the skybox here. Now at first glance, you might not think that there's anything wrong with it, but I want you to take like 5 seconds. I'll give 5 seconds to come up with an answer like, what is not really wrong, but strange about it. If you guessed that it is because it's the exact same skybox that is in Windy, you'd be correct. Yeah, it is literally the exact same skybox. I don't think there's a single other area in this game that reuses a skybox. To my knowledge, that's not the case. I could be wrong. And from my understanding of how this world is connected, that woody area you see there is supposed to be Barn Boys. But we're in Barn Boys. At least that's my understanding of it. Because if you're in Windy and look toward the Barn Boys, the entrance to Barn Boys, that is what you see, is that giant wooden hollow stump or tree? I don't know what you would call that. But if you think about the geography of the Conker world, the entrance to Barn Boys is in this direction. Right? You can tell from looking down there. You can see it right there by the ladder. So that means that direction is Windy. Spooky kind of lines up, but we know that the castle is to the right of that exit towards the poo cabin, but the castle's to the left. Ooga Booga, meanwhile, should be also next to that castle that's on the other side. Same with Bat's Tower. The entire skybox is flipped. The only thing that kinda lines up is Spooky. Now obviously, it's not a big deal. Like, you will only notice this if you stop and think about it and examine those skybox in both Windy and Barn Boys, and also are familiar with the geography of Conker's world. But it's just something that's I found interesting when I just stopped and took it all in. Anyway, our next stop is this water tower bucket thing. Normally, in earlier states of the Barn Boys, when you first enter this area, it's filled with water. Now, if you remember correctly, this water disappears only after you have defeated the boss, like the hay boss. And if you remember what happens right after the boss fight, it's the flooding section. So all the water that you're escaping from comes from this bucket. Now, is it just me, or does that not make any sense? There's not enough water here to fill up an entire underground facility, or whatever you the correct term would be. There's also the fact that I literally just noticed as well editing the video that the pipes that are supposedly connecting into the bucket don't actually have any input from inside the bucket, because if you look on the other side inside the bucket, there's no hole for the water to go in. Like, what is happening here? What? What? Besides the mass not lining up, we have the question of this bucket's functionality. Why does this bucket collect water for some pumping system? My guess is one of two things. First and most likely reason is to provide clean drinking water to the land and its inhabitants. And also for farming, I guess, wherever that happens. The second option is that this provides a kingdom with its power, through the use of turbines and such in the pipes. Now, I'm less inclined to believe this one, since it wouldn't really line up with what a barn entails, but I thought I would throw the idea out there. Also, have you noticed how despite this being a place for farming, there isn't a whole lot of, well, farming going on? Like, there's the hay, sure, but despite that, what does this place provide for the kingdom? Cheese seems like one thing, and potentially clean water, but that seems to be it. And this suddenly just popped into my head. But why is there a giant diving board for this bucket? What does this lanky, wasp-infested tower have to do with farming in a barn? Who knows, but it's weird to be sure. Now, I originally dismissed this area, because, as you can plainly see, it's closed currently. However, there's an alternative entrance to this area that I completely blanked on the last time I recorded my previous part. And it's literally by taking a fucking swan dive down this hole. Well, that was weird and kind of creepy. I have no idea what that happened, but moving on. Now we're in here. This next spot has a completely unique aspect to it that I'm pretty sure is not seen anywhere else in the game. It is something that a lot of people have attributed to being scary or unsettling, and I find it both surprising, cool, and eerie all at once. You'll see what I mean when we get there. With that said, another time inconsistency here with the light shining through the hole here. It's not daytime. I know I shouldn't need to point out every time that happens, but I do feel the necessity to. Okay, so first off, nothing too strange, right? I do see the thing that I'm talking about. If you don't see it, well, I'll show you soon enough. Now, if you played the game before or watched one of my videos, you know that this is a boss arena. You fight this bull that you force to ride into a bunch of cows that come out of these compartments. Whoa, I never actually walked into these before. In order to get them to drink the cranberry juice over there, that gives them screaming shits, that they, as they say, diarrhea, essentially, to fill up what we just came from. Maybe this is what the farm was for, to feed these cows and the bull that was here. But now that we're back here, and we can enter these compartments that they lived in, essentially, slept in. The compartments where the cows slept make me feel sad from just how minimal they are. Like, this is where they spent essentially half their lives all in the pursuit of shitting down this drain. No soft space to sleep, no water or proper ventilation for when they're locked up. Like, this is quite literally animal abuse. Though, this is a world where animals are the primary species, so maybe just abuse? Either way, it's messed up in a really depressing manner and adds an element of cruelty to this place which I hadn't considered before. This place is kind of peaceful. We're just kind of wandering around down here, listening to the birds chirping. It is very similar to the first area that I showed you in the previous part, where it kind of gives you that camping feel. However, I'm gonna give this area a completely new context by scaling this wall here. By doing this simple task, you might already be seeing hints of what I'm thinking of. You completely change the feel of this area. From something that could be considered cozy, or it might still be cozy, depending on kind of person you are. But now, by taking in this fog that I don't think is anywhere else in the game, I don't think there's fog anywhere else. It feels so out of place, but also like strangely fitting for an old video game. It gives it this eerie undertone. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I think mostly PlayStation games and PC games did this, but essentially because of hardware limitations, they couldn't load big parts of the map all at once. So what the developers did to get around this was implement a fog, so you could see the map loading in. They did this in, let's say, Left 4 Dead, Half-Life, a lot of older PC games, and I think some PlayStation games too. I'm not entirely familiar which did and which didn't. But my point is, this fog would often give players a creepy vibe while they explored those games, which is a big part of why I find this fog so unsettling. To my knowledge, it's very foreign for Nintendo 64 games to have fog in them. And especially this thick. Like, this gives me flashbacks to being a kid and watching Herobrine videos on YouTube. Or intentionally turning the fog down because I wanted to hunt for Herobrine. You know? It gives it this eerie undertone. It feels so disconnected, and not in a just isolating way, but like it's not entirely the same game. It's not entirely of the same world that Conker is, you know? Does that make sense? Am I making any sense? In addition, because of the time inconsistency, lack of life that used to be here, and the before mentioned fog, it all culminates into the similar feeling of separation like the mud area, but in a more unsettling tone. The fact that you have to enter a cabin and swim through a cesspit of shit in order to get here adds to it as well. If the wooded area from the first part is on the cozy side of an isolating spectrum, then this area is on the creepy side, which could go hand in hand if that's your thing. Like the kind of vibe I get from this fog is very similar to a game called Shipwreck 64, if you play that. Essentially, it's a supposed unreleased Nintendo 64 game that was discontinued in 1995. And for some reason, it got re-released in like current day, like 2023, I think the game came out. And you essentially have to dig deep into the game to find out why it was discontinued and whatnot. And it has a lot of areas that have a similar vibe that this fog creates. There's other areas that we're gonna explore later that I think generate a similar feel, but you know, let me know if you agree or disagree. I think this area, now knowing that this fog is here, is like eerily isolating. Not in a cozy way like the first area that I showed you in part 1. It feels out of place. And I think that's pretty damn unique. And this screeching here. This area could literally be like a horror area in that game. In Shipwreck 64. I'm not even exaggerating. Wait. I just noticed. There's now music playing here at nighttime because I left out of that. This doesn't happen a lot. Oh, this is such a clash of vibes. It's playing the music like nothing is wrong, everything's fine and dandy. Like it's just daytime, but it's nighttime. Oh, it feels like I've edited the video, but like I'm not even joking, I haven't touched the audio of the section at least. Oh, I don't know why, that really does not sit well with me. I don't like it. Can I turn it off? Wait, this music shouldn't be playing here. What is happening? It feels like I'm in a creepypasta or something now. Can I make it stop? That didn't stop it. Well, I just found a new thing about the game. The way the song just cut out there, holy shit. That felt really abrupt. At least we're back to the normal quietness of the night. Okay, just to add like a little honorable mention, I want to talk about this little compartment here. So obviously this is where you finish the legendary Great Mighty Pooh boss battle. You pull this lever, which flushes him down, and lets us progress through the game. Shut up! Like, just think about this a second. What even is this? There's like a drain here. Is this a shower? Is this what this is supposed to be? But it's not. It's a flush. And does that mean that giant hole is a toilet, technically? And that entire Pooh cabin bowl area of boss fight section is the sewage. There's so many implications here. Next up is an entire level I completely blanked on for some reason during the last video. Ooga Booga during nighttime. We're going to check out what's changed and what the vibes are, and yeah, you get the idea. Wait. There's a hook up there that like seems like... Wait, what? I've never seen that hook up there. Like there's supposed to be like a tail. How are you supposed to get up there? This was also an area that was requested I check out in my last part. Ooga Booga during nighttime. Now, as you can see, doesn't really look like nighttime, but this time I don't actually think it's a time inconsistency. Well, maybe it is, I don't know. But my theory is that because of the light and heat from the lava, it distorts the air and makes it look like it does here. Essentially, it looks like it's light out, but it's actually dark. All because there's lava here. The first area on our list is where that's right, we're going clubbing. Can't fucking talk. Now you might think this is a weird place to go, cause like what's so strange about this place? Well, it's the fact that there's not much to this place. It is strangely empty. There's literally 3 people on the floor, 2 up on the ledge, 1 passed out drunk behind the counter, who's supposed to be working here, I think. We can still push him around, and we need to push him around for the main plot to progress it, but the other rock dudes that are dancing with the rock babes and the cavemen that steal our money in the story are no longer to be seen. Normally, this is such a bustling place. You got people dancing all over the place, there's people by the bar, but now it just strangely feels empty. And couple that with the music not reflecting this change, it just feels so uncharacteristic of what you would expect it to be, you know? The creepy drawings as well. Skeleton on the wall, of almost crucified bear. It almost gives off like this creepypasta vibe. Like, imagine if someone made a creepypasta about Conker, and they say they got to this part of the game, you know, like, but for whatever reason, the disco club was strangely empty. The rock dudes that you're normally supposed to piss on was no longer there. You know, something like that. Oh, I just noticed our behavior with these girls. They're now doing a relaxed dance, they're just kind of idling. But as the music picks up right now, they change their dance rhythm. That's so cool. Never noticed that before. You know, that's pretty much all I have to say about this place. It's eerie how empty it feels after you've completed the story, or the story events present in this area. And the vibe that the music portrays doesn't really sync up with how the area looks, and it creates a disconnect, making it almost sad. Kind of like how a once thriving and active business or outing area is now suddenly almost abandoned and past its prime. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this place. That's about it. Got some other places to check out. Next, I actually have no idea how this is gonna turn out, so I'm interested to see.
Hey, over here!
How do I get over there? Like how?
Buddy over here! Hey! Hey, what about me? Somebody
Yo,
get
I've
me!
never done this before. I feel like I'm playing a new part of the game that I've never played before. I can't. I can't right now. This is incredible. I've never collected this one up. I wonder how many people have ever collected this. How am I at 7? The fuck happened? Like, okay, seriously, have any of you seen or accessed this ledge before? Because I feel like it's something that not a lot of people have interacted with. It almost feels like an added section in a ROM hack or something. Like, genuinely, it feels so out of place. Really cool. We're now checking out the part of the game where the tone shifts dramatically. This part of the game has always had a rough contrast between the darkness of the teddies and the silly nature it usually has, which is the feeling we'll be exploring just through a more indirect medium, along with some other tidbits I found interesting. Not often we go here. Wow, you can actually see Spooky, the Pooh Mountain, the castle, Windy, the Honey Mountain, all the way from over here. That is really cool. Now obviously this entire part, the vibe sort of changes for this part of the game. It goes from being very whimsical and silly to kind of dark and also silly. It definitely takes a darker tone. So you might be thinking like, what areas could I possibly thinking about checking out during this part of the game? Well, we're technically already there, or here I should say, but I accidentally triggered the cutscene that progresses us to the next area that I also want to talk about, so we'll circle back later for this one. For now, we focus on the second tunnel in front of us that is way more dark. Like literally, there's almost no light here. Alright, that should be the last of them. Now, I've killed, I think, all the teddies here. You can see their dead bodies laying around. Now that they're all dead, similar to the spooky area from the first game, or first part, something that I've always wanted to do is just taking these tunnels here. Because besides from the fires that these annoying bastards produce out, the only light sources that are in this tunnel are these flammable like fire barrels. That texture was kind of weird. Whatever. And the lasers. The music keeps you on edge like at all times because you know that there's teddies around every goddamn corner in this place. And now that you have killed them all and you're just kind of walking back through it, what's going through your mind? For me, the corpses and the general quietness of this tunnel after you've done killing everything creates this energy of, or this feeling of having missed a battle and you're seeing firsthand the horrific nature of war. Kind of like you're another soldier that's following after Conker to try to back him up, and you're seeing this trail of just corpses. And also the way that they just despawn permeates this almost supernatural element to it. Like it's like a horror movie, or a horror game I should say. It feels unnatural. And then there's this moody lighting that makes for an eerie atmosphere, akin to, yet again, Shipwrecked 64. I've mentioned that like I don't know how many times now, but it truly does remind me of it. I don't know why it's on my mind so much today, but it's just how it is. It's not like I've played the game recently or anything, so. And also just the way this tunnel is shaped, it creates, well, a liminal feeling. I know that term is like way overused for some people, but it just fits the feeling I get. I mean, I think by definition, like physically, it's just a liminal area. It is a transitional space. It's a tunnel connecting one end of the building to another. And it also just has that feeling, coupled with the way it has these alcoves that are specifically designed almost for these flamethrower guys. Like, what is that about? Also, these flamethrower guys are the only people, besides, I mean, I wouldn't really call the Teddies people, but they're the only living beings here. And that is the only thing fighting against this creepy feeling that this tunnel creates. If these goofy motherfuckers weren't here, this tunnel would be full-on horror game material. And I like that weird contrast a lot. And I never looked at this before. It's actually kind of creepy to look at in the mirror, because all that's behind Conker here is just a dark void. Yet again, we have another area that, after you've killed all the teddies, has a weird atmosphere when you just linger in this area. Yo, this is kind of cool. I've never been in this little alcove here. I know, it's kind of used, but this place has this liminal tone to it. Because of, well, it's like a storage area, but there's also a gun with windows that are completely blacked out, it seems. Like, I think that's those little openings there are supposed to be windows. At least I'm pretty sure they're supposed to be windows. To me, it seems like they completely either forgot or just ran out of time and couldn't put the texture to visualize that that's supposed to be the outside there, where it just is blacked out. Other than that though, this constant shaking that happens because of the complete savagery that's happening outside, it's just a constant reminder that you're currently in the middle of a war zone. Even after you've killed all the teddies here, you can't even for a moment forget that you're actually in the middle of a war. And it's all because of this constant shaking that's happening from explosions or whatever. And I think that has an unsettling tone to this. I would say just this area, but that it's prevalent to this entire chapter, I would say. You know, this little entrance here, I guess you could call it, is something that would definitely be like in a Mario 64 personalized kind of thing, you know? Like you would enter here and find a completely new area. And now we're gonna head back to the first tunnel that I accidentally skipped over. Okay. So I decided to check this area out again because I feel like I didn't give it a fair enough shot. So I've just taken out all the teddies. And now we're gonna walk back through the way we came and see what the atmosphere is like. So it's really cool that it's wet. The ground is wet. There's water down the middle. I've never noticed that before. That's pretty cool. The alarm that's going off, the flashing red light, creates a really unique atmosphere actually that is not present in the next tunnel that we talked about earlier. And the way you saw it earlier, that as you slowly move through this tunnel, it gets more and more decrepit. These pipes start falling down and blowing steam in your face. Well, after first Teddy appears, the one that's on the ground here appears, the alarm starts blaring and these red lights activate. Before that, this steam pipe kind of falls down as the entire building shakes from the absolute devastation that this war is causing on the island or inland. I'm not quite sure what type of landmass this is, but that's besides the point. It is a really atmospheric part, and then this kind of open area with these barrels again. Yeah, you know, I didn't really give this area its credit. It is really well made now that I look at it again. I like this area a lot more at now. The steam pipes, the gradual build up with the alarms blaring, the flashing red lights, the implementation of the more and more advanced laser traps, then the vents. Really cool tunnel actually, now that I dissected it down and really look at it. And the water, that's like down in the middle here, just creates this little separation in the ground, gives it more character. Yeah, I remember this tunnel being way more simpler, but now that I look at it, and take it all in, it's actually really sophisticated almost. Maybe not almost. I would say it's pretty sophisticated. It's put together with so much purpose, way more than I initially gave it credit for. Pretty cool. The biggest and most common theme I see across these areas are the sense of eeriness they permeate. The barn with its unpolished and out-of-place elements, the bull arena with its unsettling fog, the sad decline of the disco club, and the war arena with its uncanny vibe, architecture, and liminal feeling. I originally didn't think that Conker had a lot of this old video game creepiness to it, but seeing these places under the different contexts we applied throughout this journey has almost been enlightening in a way. I adore being able to see or realize new aspects of games I love, and Conker is no different, especially when I've always wanted more out of this franchise. Little did I know that by just exploring and challenging the limits of the game, I could find some of what I was looking for. Makes you think if the boundaries that you think are there are actually there or not, and how you might be holding yourself back more than any external force. I don't know, that just kind of boiled out of me. Let me know which vibe you preferred, part 1 or this one. If you want more, you can check out part 1 here, or a different video YouTube thinks you would enjoy. With that, I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, I truly appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next one. See ya!